Here's the Mindful Man reading a few chapters from my book on Amazon KDP, Flander's Friend. Chapter 18, What Happened to Your Eye? What happened to your eye? Said Arthur as he peered closely at his ever-growing black eye. Smigger hit me, Tim said, in between tears. Who's Smigger? Said Arthur. He's a school bully and he decided to pick on me, said Tim despondently. Arthur looked angry. Well, we'll have to do something about that, said Arthur forcibly, with a serious look on his face. But what can we do? Tim said. Just you watch, said Arthur as he disappeared into his flimsy tent. And Tim wondered what he was doing, but all was revealed when he came back smiling, with a pair of huge-looking boxing gloves. Where did you get them? Said Tim. He was shocked and surprised. He'd never seen gloves which looked that old and that big. They were comical. Where did you get them? Said Tim, happily surprised. You won't believe what I've got in my tent, said Arthur, with a knowing wink. Here we go, he said. Let's start boxing. He helped Tim put on the big, heavy gloves, and they were big and odd-looking. But Tim smiled as he held them up to his sides. Now punch, said Arthur. Tim was nervous, but he threw out one soggy punch. Not bad, said Arthur. Now hit me harder. Tim tried hard not to laugh, but it was difficult. He was so nervous. He always laughed when he was nervous, and it got him into lots of trouble. Arthur had a stern, serious look on his face, which Tim hadn't seen before. Tim threw out another punch, but this time it was a bit harder. Now think of Smigger's face, said Arthur, and Tim felt a new feeling building up inside of him. It was anger. Smigger's face appeared before him, and with his evil grin, and Tim threw a punch, which made Arthur step back in shock. That hurt, he said, but he wasn't annoyed, he was pleased. Tim laughed and he felt his confidence growing. Tim threw punches left and right, and he quickly improved with speed and power. He was beginning to enjoy himself. Now the next time Smigger comes up to you and starts to berate you, hit him with a left and a right, and then a quick rabbit punch, Arthur said. Tim looked puzzled. What's a rabbit punch? It's a quick punch to the stomach, said Arthur, and he demonstrated it to Tim. Arthur's fist shot out like a rattlesnake. Luckily, it just rested against Tim's stomach skillfully, as soft as cotton wool. Tim was amazed. Wow, that was so fast, he said. If you hit him with one of these, it'll go down like a sack of spuds, said Arthur. Now let me have it, he shouted. Tim was nervous. He gulped, and he threw a hard punch towards Arthur's podgy stomach. But just as it was about to connect, Arthur stepped back with the speed of an alley cat, and the punch hung in the air like a jack-in-a-box. Tim laughed, and then Arthur joined in, and pretty soon there was laughter ringing out around the woods.